Hi everyone, it's me Iceberg, and today I'm checking out the ZiiGaat collaboration with the Fresh Reviews, who is YouTube reviewer and a former CS Pro player, and this is Arete 2 for $279 with the 1DD and 4BA configuration. Essentially these are high-end gaming IEMs, an evolution of the Arete OG, where we get a completely upgraded design, a second generation DDs for subwoofer bass, then 4 novelist BAs for mids and treble, and a switch to get even stronger bass response, while keeping the aesthetic Arete tuning. So let's see if this is really improvement or just a marketing ploy. Let's go! Alright, so the Arete 2 comes in a stylish ZiiGaat box with a dark blue to black gradient, where on the front we can see the shells, the model name and a few logos at the top. On the side we find the brief specs with a 24 impedance and 104 sensitivity, so I wouldn't say these are easy to drive IEMs. And on the back there is a story behind the creation of the Arete 2 and information about the manufacturer. Well, inside the box we get the same premium kit as with the other ZiiGaat models, so it's Arete 2 shells in blue in my case. Then there is a 2-pin modular cable which is quite soft, thin and flexible without tangling or microphonic effect, and it's nice to use. Of course we have 3.5 and 4.4mm plugs for a wide range of connections. Then we also have 3 sets of ear tips. The first are sticky transparent tips which I simply love for their tight seal. The second are standard grey ones which are universal for everyday use. And the third one are foam tips for the bass fans and absolute isolation. The next thing is for replacement filter meshes, a spacious and convenient ZiiGaat case with velour sections inside where the IEMs looks like jewelry, and a manual with a warranty of course. Getting back to the shells, the Arete 2 comes in aggressive red and a more calm blue which I like better, and they are made of entirely of CNC aluminum, including the faceplate, which is not only look premium and shiny, but also provides long-term use. It's interesting they are not so cold to the touch like many metal shells, so it's kinda nice for long sessions. Inside we have a metal nozzle which is pretty short, like in Portesso, but wide with a 6.3mm width, so it could be an issue for users with narrow ear canals. There is also a serial number and side indicators, and on the top there is a bass level switch and a mesh vent, with the 2-pin connections on the side. In terms of fit and comfort, this will work for you unless you have small ears or narrow ear canals. You know, these are bigger than average shells, with ergonomic shape and a pretty comfy nozzle angle. So in my small ears they fit pretty snugly and securely, but after a few hours I wanna take them off, because they press on my ear canal, which is kinda painful. Anyway, they are pretty nice if you give yourself a little break time, and if you have medium or large ears, you shouldn't expect any problems with the fit at all. And when it comes to isolation, it's average here, not at the best, but not at the worst either. It's totally fine at home or in quiet places, but if you're somewhere loud or in the esports tournament, you'll need to get extra headphones for better isolation. Alright, moving on to how Arete 2 sounds, my first impressions was kinda like, wait, hold on, this one sounds really clean and really open. I mean, it's not cozy or warm sounding, but rather open and transparent, like they removed the light muffling that you can get with many other IEMs. Let's say the Arete 2 is definitely not warm, musical and cozy in the usual sense, but it's more IEM for those who wanna hear everything, and technically they are very strong, like accurate positioning, open and spacious sound with an emphasis on detail, microdynamics and instruments placement. In overall presentation, the Arete 2 follows a neutral U-shaped tuning with an emphasis on sub-bass, a slight forward vocal shift and pronounced airiness in the upper treble, with a good amount of energy and involvement. And the switch here is the most important thing, which completely changed the listening experience from just wow to holy shit, which is perfect for different scenarios, such as gaming or music that doesn't emphasize the low end. With the switch off, The sound becomes cleaner, more neutral and more analytical, where the bass is present and noticeable but stays under control, and the mid-range comes to the front, making it suitable for analytical listening or, for example, jazz, acoustic and classical music. With the switch on, it's a completely different story. The switch gives a delicious bass boost, which also adds weight and body to the notes, making less rich tracks sound fuller without turning it into a muddy mess. Well, let's talk about the bass, and this is probably the main upgrade compared to Arete OG thanks to the bass switch. So with the switch off, the Arete 2 is tuned to 9 dB bass shelf, which basically sound like an Arete, but a little more refined and quality. You know, you can already feel the deep sub-bass foundation here with vibrating, tactile rumble, and the mid-bass here has a springly, elastic, punchy character with a dense, fast and clear punch, but without blurring, which is more suitable for critical listening. But when we turn it on, everything changed completely, and it really sounds like two different IEMs. The bass gets a serious boost by about 4 dB, and that's a significant, almost Basshead improvement. Do you remember my video about the ZiiGaat Horizon where I was dreaming about the Basshead ZiiGaats? Well, apparently they heard my words. The sub-bass here turns into a real subwoofer. It's deep, rumbling, powerful, with a physical impact and a long, vibrating aftertaste, while it's tactile like in full-size headphones or even subwoofers. This is already a Basshead vibe, but without the typical Basshead problems. The mid-bass also gets some extra mid. It becomes heavier, fuller, denser, with a powerful punch and a rounded decay. Yet the attack and decay are a bit slower compared to the off, but in returns there's a nice lushness and tail, but the texture and control remain impressive for this amount. This makes on mode perfect for immersions like single-player games and EDM, trap, hip-hop, rock or even modern metal, where everything is rocking out. Well, the midrange is handled by tried and tested pair of Knowles BA 29689 drivers, which I have seen in most ZiiGaat models, and they sound incredibly clean and transparent, retaining a natural character with a good detail. So here the lower mids are pushed forward enough to make the vocals and instruments feel present and emotional, and the upper mids are controlled with a precise 2.5 kHz peak for clarity, but without any shrillness or harshness. And this solution works, where fresh reviews make the upper mids a little more relaxed, so the IEMs don't sound shrill during long gaming sessions, which is the right choice for its target audience. When it comes to the vocals, the male sounds natural and full-bodied, especially with the switch on, which adds more weight and lushness in the lower mids, while the female vocals are clear, airy, detailed and sparkle in the upper notes, without any shootiness or sibilance, but sometimes not super forward as it could be. As for the instruments, everything sounds organic and textured, the guitar has a pleasant body and resonance, and the piano notes are wavy with the right harmonics, but transparent and airy in the upper register. So the treble in Arete 2 is airy, sparkling, smooth and comfy. Not as sharp as many hybrids with the Knowles tweeters or PZT drivers, but also not a dark top end. Here the emphasis is on airiness in the upper treble, with excellent extension that makes the sound even more open and holographic, but at the same time smooth and not picky. That means it's not a sound that's blinding or tiring, instead, it's simply naturally airy with excellent micro detail, yet completely free of any metallic or gritty feel. And if you're sensitive to highs, this is probably one of the safest choice among all of gaming and versatile hybrids. Well, the Soundstage here is one of the strongest points, especially for gamers. Overall, Arete 2 creates a focused and immersive soundstage that feels spacious and holographic rather than just locked in. Of course, it's not huge in size, but for in-ear monitors, it's one of the widest and most convincing, with noticeable gaps between instruments and good air. And the separation with imaging in music is just excellent. while the layers don't blend together and are clearly separated even in complex tracks, and the sounds are easy to pinpoint with directions and distances identified very accurately. So I also test these in competitive games, and I have some things to say. Firstly, Arete 2 sound like a more upgraded version of any mass-marketed products like Razer, Logitech or HyperX, where everything sounds nice but kinda noisy. But here everything works differently. The Arete 2 is designed with the gaming in mind, where the bass gives the sound physical weight and spacious Soundstage makes it easy to track movements and shots in competitive games. Well, let's start with the CS2, which is the perfect stress test for these. I did a few gaming sessions, and the first thing I noticed was the switch off is the perfect for competitive mode, where footsteps are clearly localized, the bass doesn't blur the gunshots and explosions, and the sound separation is just excellent. With the switch on, explosions and gunshots start to sound physically heavier, mudding the other sound, making the footsteps less clear and localization more difficult. The next game I tested was Valorant, in which, in addition to footsteps and gunshots, you need to hear the agent abilities, understand the vertical space, and handle a huge amount of sound information at the same time. So here Arete 2 turns the game into the ultra-precise sound radar, where footsteps, gunshots and abilities sound crystal clear, and the scene provides full space coverage with instant understanding of direction and distances. With the switch on, it's a bit overloaded, where the bass squeezes the space, so in here I also prefer the switch off. And the last game I tested was PUBG, and here Arete 2 is simply the king of Battle Royale. Footsteps on any surface are textured with a clear direction, and the soundstage expands, allowing you to hear players very clearly, even hundreds of meters away. And here I actually like the switch on, where every grenade explosions, gunshots or environment has physical weight and immersion, without losing any information. Alright guys, let's recap what the Arete 2 is all about and answer the first question we had at the beginning of this video: is it a real upgrade or just a marketing ploy? Well, my honest answer is a real upgrade and a pretty good one. Look, compared to the Arete OG, firstly we get a completely redesigned CNC aluminum shells instead of resin. Secondly, we have a new second-gen DD driver with a noticeably deeper and more physically perceptible bass impact. And most importantly, we have a bass switch, which is basically a killer feature that literally turns one IEM into two different devices for any scenarios. With the switch off, we get a neutral, analytical, precise sound that is ideal for CS2 and Valorant in competitive modes, and for any genres where detail and clarity are important. And with the switch on, it turns the Arete 2 into something Basshead with powerful, physically audible sub-bass and wavy mid-bass with a dense punch, which is ideal for PUBG, immersive single-player games, and EDM, trap, hip-hop and rock. Now the main question, is it worth buying them? So my answer, if you're a gamer with a serious approach to the sound, then definitely yes. The Arete 2 sound like an upgrade to any mass marketing gaming devices, but it works completely differently. And if you're an audiophile looking for IEMs purely for music, then the Arete 2 will also work. But for those who like neutral, technical, open presentation with a focus on detail. For myself, as a music lover and former semi-pro CS player, my final rating is a solid 9.5 out of 10. These are honest and well-designed IEMs for $279, which don't look like a weird collab, but rather the result of understanding what gamers and audiophiles need at the same time. And here Fresh Reviews knows exactly what competitive gaming needs in terms of sound, because he's done it himself, and ZiiGaat knows how to make it happen in their products. Many thanks to the Linsol for providing this sample, and to you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more. I'll catch you guys in the next one. This was Iceberg, take care and bye.